Bienvenidos los Swifters! We're in the final video to complete our app for GuacChain, the world's tastiest Bitcoin-only Mexican restaurant. In our prior videos, we got the Bitcoin to dollar, pound, and euro exchange rate. Now we'll finish up by calculating the bill. Basing currency calculations on the extreme rate of Bitcoin as the base isn't necessarily the best way to do foreign currency management, but hopefully you found this to be a fun example of using the Coindesk API and working with JSON. Time to finish up. Andale! So next up, what we need to do is make sure that we can calculate our bill based on a cost of taco of $5, a burrito is $8, chips are $3, and horchata is $2. So I ask you in viewcontroller.swift to create 4 constants: taco price, burrito price, chips price, and horchata price. I'm going to highlight these 4 names and Command-C to copy them so that I can paste them in my code in just a bit. These will be in US dollars, but then down in question number 2, we're going to write a function calctotal that will use the values above and calculate a dollar total and update the currency total label. Now we also mentioned we want the results to have a dollar sign in front of them, and we also want them formatted to 2 decimal places, so dollars and cents. And to make things easier, I gave you this string statement that you can use. It's got the format specifier built into it. I always look up my format specifiers anyway. Now we should call calc total for each of the individual step or IB actions. This way we can make sure every time we increase our quantity up or down of any of the items, we get the exact price value showing. Let's code. So back in viewcontroller.swift, I'll paste in those 4 names that I'd copied earlier and set them to let taco price equals 5.0, let burrito price equal 8.0, let chip price equals 3.0, and let horchata price equal 2.0. Now let's create that calctotal function. Let's do that just below view.load. So we'll say func calctotal, open and close parens, we're passing nothing in, open and close curlies. Then I want to take values from my different quantity labels, and I'm going to create constants for those. So I'll say let taco quantity, this will be a double, equals, and I want to say taco quantity label dot text exclamation point. But I want to convert this to a double, so I'll wrap it in double with the quantity label dot text in between the parentheses. But if you option click on taco quantity, you can see that this is an optionally wrapped double. See the question mark at the end? So in order to prevent this from being an optionally wrapped double, we want it to just be a straight up double. What I'll do is I'll add question mark at the end. Now this should never generate a nil value. I could force unwrap this by just putting an exclamation point after this parenthesis, but instead I'll just put in 0.0 as the value that would show up if it was a nil. Since I'm never going to get a nil, either approach would be fine. Now I'll copy this whole line, paste it down below, set my let to burrito quantity instead of taco quantity, and make sure that I'm converting the burrito quantity label, and I'll paste it again down below, and I'll set this to be chips quantity label, and that's going to be set to let chips quantity. We got one more down below. We're going to be converting from horchata quantity label to horchata quantity. Now that I've got all of these 4 quantities, I'm going to go ahead and say let dollar total equals, in parentheses, taco quantity times taco price. Now I actually don't need to put my multiplication inside of the parentheses. Swift precedence will calculate the multiplications before addition, but I like to do this because I think it makes my code easier to read, the same way that you would do it in Excel. Not necessary, but makes it easier to read there too. So I'll say plus, and in parentheses, burrito quantity times burrito price, plus, in parentheses, chips quantity times chips price, plus, in parentheses, horchata quantity times horchata price. So dollar total is a double, and what I want to do in the next line is I want to create a string which has a dollar sign in front of it, and it's in dollars and cents format, so that means 2 numbers after the decimal point. The way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to say let dollar total string equals string, open parentheses. Now by calling an initializer for string, we see we have a bunch of different options down here. I'm going to select this one that says format :string and then comma arguments. Now code completion says that this returns a string object initialized by using the given format string as a template into which the remaining argument values are substituted. So there's a standard called string specifiers that are used in lots of different programming languages. The ability to do this in Swift is a holdover from the Objective-C days. If you're curious about the specifiers, you can search online. There are a bunch of tutorials. Here's Apple's string format specifiers documentation, but I've given you the format specifier that you can use on this exam. It's simply $% dot to F. Now what that does is it will take the value, and when it converts it to a string, adding a $sign in the beginning, however many values it needs before the period, but only 2 numbers after the decimal place. So for the arguments, we only have one argument that's $total. That's the double that we're passing in here to be formatted and then turn into a string. And for our format, I'm going to paste in that string formatter that I copied from the exam. That's $, percentage, period to F. Then on the line below, let's set up our currency label. So we'll say currency total label dot text equals $total string. Let's build and run and take a look at how things look. No errors. Hammer time. Let's add some tacos. 1, 2, 3. That's $5, $10, $15. Add a Bitcoin burrito. That's another $8. Add some chips. $3 on top of that. Let's get a horchata. Another $2. We got a $28 bill. Nice. For question number 3, let's modify our calc total function, and we want to use that to calculate the values that should go into Bitcoin total label. We should not round the Bitcoin to 2 decimal points because it is a tiny fraction, because a single Bitcoin is so expensive. This skews the currency calculations, but we want to make sure that we add a Bitcoin symbol in front. We can get at that the same way that we get at our emojis. That's Control-Option-Space. Then you'll see that there's a currency selection so that you can choose the Bitcoin symbol, which is a B with a vertical line through it. And when we get this working fine, we should see results like we do on the right-hand side for a date night order of 3 tacos, 1 burrito, 1 crypto chip, and 2 horchatas. Let's code it. So first, let's calculate that Bitcoin total. We'll say we'll create a constant Bitcoin total equals, and it's going to be $total. Now, remember, our dollar per Bitcoin gives us how many dollars per Bitcoin. That's going to give us a really big number. We don't want to multiply our dollars per Bitcoin. We want to get the number of Bitcoin per dollar. So we say / for divide by currency rate $dollar per Bitcoin. This will give us a small number, which is what we're expecting, because nothing in our menu is greater than $8, and a single Bitcoin is around, at the time of this video, $8,900. So the Bitcoin value should be teeny, teeny, tiny. Then on the next line, we'll say Bitcoin total label dot text equals, in between the double quotes, and we'll add the Bitcoin symbol. And we can find that in emojis and symbols, so hold down Control, Command, and Space. Click on Currency. Here we see the Bitcoin symbol in the upper right-hand corner, the B with a slash through it. Double click on that, then do a string interp, put our Bitcoin total inside of that, build and run. And we can see if we add 3 tacos, not only do we get $15, but we get this tiny, tiny fraction of a Bitcoin. And as we increase and add a burrito, add a crypto chip, add a couple of horchatas, we see the Bitcoin value goes up a tiny amount. Everything is looking good. Finally, we want to be able to calculate our bill not just in US dollars, but also in British pounds and in euros. So question number 4 says modify calc total with an additional switch case statement to check the selected segment in the currency segmented control, perform any necessary calculations to convert the dollar total to other currencies, and make sure that you update the currency total label depending on the exchange rate. Now be sure to include the proper symbol for the currency value, and also make sure that each of those different currencies, not the Bitcoin, but the euros and the pounds, are rounded to 2 decimals. And here's your hint. Even though we don't have a pound per dollar or a euro per dollar exchange rate, if you have the exchange rates for dollar per Bitcoin, pound per Bitcoin, and euro per Bitcoin, then you should be able to easily calculate the pound per dollar and the euro per dollar rate. Then we want to make sure that we call calc total so that changing each of the menu quantities will show us the local currency automatically updating as well as that Bitcoin value. Let's code this up and finish the app. So let's return to Xcode, and at the bottom of calc total, let's add a switch statement. We'll say switched, and it'll be currency segmented control dot, and the way that we find which segment was selected was we say selected segment index. And we can see what code completion says. It says it's the index identifying the selected segment. That is the last segment that was touched. We'll press enter to accept this. Open and close curlies. Now remember, these are 0 indexed, so we're going to have case 0 colon, case 1 colon, case 2 colon, and default colon. Now default will be an error condition, so we'll simply say print error colon, this should never happen, only 3 segments in this segmented control. Now what I'll do inside each of the remaining 3 cases is I'll format the currency string, but I'll just make sure that I put in either dollars or pounds or euros. So I'm going to highlight this line here that says currency total label.text equals currency string, cut it out, paste it below my switch case statement. Then I'm going to replace my dollar total string with a currency string that I need to define. Now in each of the remaining case statements, I'm going to update my currency string, but I need to declare this outside of the switch case statement because I'm going to refer to it outside the switch case statement down below. So I'm going to perform some surgery on my let dollar total string up here. I'm going to highlight everything after the equal sign, and I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to use that as a template to set up my dollars. It's already set for those, but also my British pounds and my euros. And I'm going to set this instead of a constant dollar total string, I'll say var, so it's a variable because I'm going to change it, currency total string. And I'll set it equal to the empty string because I'm going to actually set this inside of my three cases. Then inside of case number 0, I'm going to paste in the string with the format specifier I just copied, and before that I'm going to say currency string equals this. Then I'm going to highlight this whole line, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it into case number 1, and I'll paste it into case number 2. Then in case 1, for the format string, I'll backspace over the dollar sign and replace it with the pound symbol. Below that, I'll replace it with the euro symbol. You get those by typing option 3 for pound, shift option 2 for euro, respectively, on the US keyboard. Then in case 1, I'm going to create a new constant. I'll say let pound total equals, I'll do the same down here for case 2, but I'll say let euro total equals. I'll copy the pound total that I have yet to calculate, and I'll replace the dollar total in case 1 with pound total. I'll do the same in case 2, highlighting euro total and pasting it over the dollar total, so I'm going to be formatting euro total. Then I'm getting some errors here. It's because I said currency string instead of currency total string. So I'll highlight and copy currency total string, then paste over the currency string value in case 0, case 1, case 2, and just after our switch case statement where we set currency total label.text, that should also be equal to currency total string. Then in case 1, I'm going to copy my dollar total and I'm going to multiply that by the currency rate. Then I'll copy dollar total up here and I'll paste it down below. So pound total equals dollar total times, and then in parentheses here, I'm going to say currency rate dot pound per BTC divided by currency rate dot dollar per BTC. So that's going to give me my pound per dollar rate. And if I multiply that by my dollar value, I can figure out how much my bill is in pounds. Then I'm going to highlight everything after the equal sign on this line, copy with Command C. I'm going to paste that after my let euro total equal, but I'm going to change my currency rate dot pound per Bitcoin to currency rate dot euro per Bitcoin. Just one more thing to do. Let's scroll to the very bottom, and inside my IB action for currency segmented press, I'm going to make sure that I call calc total. Then I can go up to the top, build and run, hammer time. Let's see how this looks. What if we order 1 horchata? How much is that in pounds? About 160. How much in euro? About 180. What if we go up and add 3 tacos, 1 burrito, 1 crypto chips, 2 horchatas? We see that that's about 27 euro 4 cents. That's about 24 pounds exactly, or 30 bucks exactly in dollars. I hope you enjoyed GuacChain. You really learned a lot, and you applied it in your final exam. Congratulations, Swifter. I loved having you part of our learning. Keep at it, always stay in touch, and let me know when that first app hits the App Store. Good luck.